The galactic conservation vessel Meridian Dawn was bigger than most cities. It floated through space carrying creatures from 40 different worlds. Each section recreated the home environment of the species inside. Temperature, gravity, atmosphere, everything was perfect. Aliens traveled from across the galaxy to see the collection. It was part zoo, part research station, part symbol of unity among the Council worlds. Commander walked through the corridors with his head high. He was a species known for military strength and proud traditions. His scales gleamed dark green under the ship's lights. He stood nearly 8 feet tall. His people valued power and dominance. They believed the strong should lead and the weak should learn their place. This philosophy had served the well for thousands of years. Today was assigned to inspect the section of the vessel, the Earth exhibit. Humans had joined the Galactic Council only 3 years ago. They were newcomers, primitives really, at least in opinion. Their planet was classified as a Class 12, which impressed some species. Thought it was exaggerated. He had seen their animals, small, soft, nothing like the armored predators of his. The Earth section was busy when he arrived. Several aliens stood outside the viewing areas, watching the creatures inside with fascination. Did not understand the appeal. He saw a section labeled North American Forest. Inside, some small furry animals climbed trees. Another area showed African plains with striped creatures that ran in circles. Boring. He checked his data pad. There had been complaints about noise from one of the habitats. Something called a honey badger was disturbing other exhibits with its digging and vocalizations. His job was to assess whether the creature should be relocated or if the habitat needed modifications. He found the enclosure near the back of the Earth section. The sign read Desert Environment. Inside, the habitat recreated African scrubland with red sand, scattered rocks, and tough vegetation. It was warm and dry. Approached the viewing window and looked inside. At first, he saw nothing. Then movement caught his eye. A small animal emerged from a burrow. It looked like a combination of several creatures, none of them impressive. It had a stocky body covered in gray and black fur. Its legs were short but muscular. The face was marked with white stripes. It moved with a strange confidence, waddling across the sand without concern. This was the disruptive creature, this tiny thing. Read the information display. Honey badger. Scientific name, native to Africa and parts of Asia. Carnivorous. Omnivorous diet including small mammals, insects, and honey. Average weight 30 pounds. Snorted 30 pounds. His combat armor weighed more than that. He noticed an access door marked for authorized personnel only. As the inspection officer, he had clearance. He wanted to see this animal up close to understand what the problem was. Perhaps it was sick or stressed. Perhaps it needed to be removed from the collection entirely. He entered the access code and stepped through. The habitat was larger inside than it appeared from the viewing area. The dry heat hit him immediately. The honey badger had moved to the far side, investigating something near an artificial termite mound. It noticed him but did not run. It did not even seem concerned. It just watched him with dark eyes. Walked closer. The creature was even less impressive in person. Short, low to the ground, no visible fangs or claws. Its reputation as a difficult animal must be due to human weakness. These people came from a planet where such tiny predators posed a threat. How pathetic. The honey badger approached him. It moved with that same waddling confidence, getting within a few feet of his position. Felt insulted. On his world, prey animals knew to flee from predators. They recognized superior force. This creature showed no respect, no fear. It needed to learn its place in the natural order. He raised his foot, intending to deliver a light kick. Not enough to seriously harm it, just enough to send it running. To teach it that large beings were not to be approached so casually. His leg was already in motion when he heard a voice. "Stop." The word was quiet but carried absolute certainty. Froze and turned his head. A human child stood near the access door. The boy was small, maybe 8 or 9 years old by human standards. He wore simple clothes and carried a water container. His eyes were locked on his raised foot. The boy walked forward quickly but calmly. He placed himself directly between and the honey badger. He did not shout or cry or show fear. He simply stood there looking up at the towering with an expression that made uncomfortable. It was not defiance exactly. It was knowledge. The kind of look someone gives when they know exactly what is about to happen and you do not. The boy spoke one word. He whispered it, but in the quiet habitat it was perfectly clear. "Regret." Stared down at the child. Regret. Was this creature threatening him, a human juvenile no bigger than an infant? The situation was absurd. He was a decorated military officer. This was a child and a small animal, yet something in the boy's eyes made him hesitate. "Move aside, human," his voice was firm. "I am conducting an inspection. You are not authorized to be here." The boy did not move. "I have keeper clearance. My name is Christopher Daniels. My parents work on the diplomatic team. I help care for Luna." "Luna?" "The honey badger, her name is Luna." Christopher glanced back at the animal. She had not moved either. She sat on her haunches, watching the situation with apparent interest. "You were going to kick her." "I was going to teach it proper respect for larger species," kept his voice stern. "It approached me without fear. That is inappropriate behavior." "She approached you because she was curious. That is normal honey badger behavior." Christopher's voice remained calm. "And you really should not kick her." I have faced combat situations your species cannot imagine. I am not concerned about this tiny creature." "You should be." The boy's certainty was unsettling. "I warned you. If you try to hurt Luna, you will regret it. I promise you will regret it more than anything you have regretted before." Heard footsteps. Other humans were entering the habitat. A male in a security uniform appeared, his face showing alarm when he saw the scene. The officer spoke quickly into a communication device. "Commander, I need you to step back from the honey badger immediately." "Sir, this is Security Officer Brandon. Please move away from that animal right now." More humans arrived. They positioned themselves near the entrance but did not approach. They looked worried, very worried. Why were they so concerned? It was just a small predator. Even if it bit him, what damage could it do? Pain shot through his leg like electricity. Luna's teeth had penetrated his scales, something he did not think was possible. Scales were tough, designed to resist weapons. Yet this small creature had bitten through them as if they were thin cloth. He tried to shake his leg to dislodge the animal. Luna held on with a grip like a mechanical vice. Reached down to pull her off. Luna released his leg and immediately clamped her jaws onto his hand instead. The bite was even worse this time. He felt her teeth grinding against the bones in his fingers. He roared in pain and anger, trying to fling her away. She twisted with his movement, her body rotating without releasing her grip. Her skin was loose, allowing her to turn inside it. His claws could not find purchase. Brandon was shouting into his communicator. "Medical emergency in Habitat 7. Commander down. Repeat, we need medical and containment protocols now." Other security personnel had entered, but they stayed back. They formed a perimeter but made no move to help. Why were they not intervening? This was their duty. He was a senior officer being attacked by an animal from their world. They should stop it. Luna released his hand and went for his other leg. She moved with terrifying speed and precision. Every bite targeted vulnerable areas. Joints, tendons, softer scales under his arms. She was not attacking randomly. She was fighting with the skill of a trained warrior. Stumbled backward, his military training by pure survival instinct. "Get it off me." He did not care that he was screaming now. Pride meant nothing compared to this agony. "Do something." Brandon shook his head. "Sir, we cannot approach while she is in defensive mode. You are designated as a threat. If we intervene, she will attack us too. The only person who can stop her now is Christopher." Looked at the boy. Christopher stood exactly where he had been, watching calmly. His arms were crossed. His expression showed neither joy nor satisfaction. Just a kind of sad acceptance, as if he had seen this exact situation play out before and wished it had not happened again. "Call it off," stumbled again as Luna climbed up his body, using his equipment belt as a ladder. She was heading for his face. Panic overwhelmed him completely. "Please." Christopher did not move. "I warned you. I said you would regret it." I regret it deeply. Please, human child, make it stop." Luna was at chest height now, her claws digging into his uniform. Could see her eyes up close. They showed no anger, no rage, no emotion at all really. She was simply doing what honey badgers do, eliminating a threat to something she protected. He was not fighting a mindless beast. He was fighting a focused, efficient predator that did not know how to quit. Christopher finally moved. He knelt down and opened his arms. He made a soft, clicking sound with his tongue. "Luna, come here, girl. It's okay now, come here." The change in Luna was immediate and shocking. She released and dropped to the ground. The fierce predator became something else entirely. She trotted to Christopher and rubbed against his legs like an affectionate cat. The boy picked her up and she settled in his arms, completely calm. She looked back at once, as if checking that he understood the lesson, then focused on Christopher. Collapsed to his knees. His body was covered in bites and scratches. Blood was leaking from dozens of wounds. His scales were torn in several places. He had been a combat officer for 20 years. He had faced enemy soldiers, survived battles, earned decorations for bravery. None of it had prepared him for 30 pounds of pure determination. Medical personnel rushed in now that Luna was secured. They surrounded with equipment and scanners. A doctor named her began treating his wounds immediately. She worked efficiently but could see concern in her 4 eyes. "How bad?" he managed to ask through the pain. "Nothing permanent if we treat it quickly. You are lucky. Honey badgers have incredibly strong jaws for their size. The bite force per square inch is comparable to much larger predators. Your scales prevented the worst damage, but you have deep tissue injuries, several torn muscles, and significant blood loss. From something that small, prepared an injection. Size is not everything, Commander. Earth animals evolved under extreme conditions, high gravity, variable climate, intense competition. They developed different survival strategies than species from gentler worlds. Honey badgers are famous even among Earth animals for their aggression and resilience. They fight creatures 10 times their size regularly. Lions, hyenas, buffalo. They do not back down ever." Brandon approached carefully. He kept his distance from Christopher and Luna, showing respect for the space around them. "Commander, I need to file a report on this incident. What would you like me to include?" Wanted to say it was an accident, that the animal attacked without provocation, but too many witnesses had seen the truth. The security cameras had certainly recorded everything. Lying would only add dishonor to his injury. Include the truth. I attempted to discipline an Earth animal without proper understanding of its nature. I was warned by Keeper Christopher Daniels and chose to ignore his warning. The animal defended itself and the child. The fault is entirely mine." Brandon looked surprised but nodded. "Yes, sir, that is consistent with what we observed. For what it is worth, Commander, you are not the first person to underestimate Earth animals. We have had similar incidents with other species. Visitors try to handle animals they think are harmless. It rarely ends well." Christopher walked over, still holding Luna. The boy's expression was kind now, not cold like before. "I am sorry you got hurt. I really did try to warn you." "Why did you not call it off sooner?" His voice was weak. "You could have stopped this before it started." "I could have, but you would not have learned the lesson. You would have thought Luna stopped because she was afraid or because I controlled her. You needed to understand what she really is, what all Earth animals are." Christopher stroked Luna's fur gently. "We did not make our animals obedient. We learned to coexist with them. We respect them, even the small ones, especially the small ones because they have to be tougher to survive." More personnel arrived, including 2 humans in diplomatic uniforms. The woman spoke first, her voice professional but tired. "Commander, I am Daniels, and this is my husband Daniel. We are the human diplomatic assigned to the Meridian Dawn. We have been of the incident. Are you receiving proper medical care?" "Yes, your son was just explaining Earth philosophy to me." Daniels sighed. "Christopher, how many times do we have to tell you not to bring Luna out during public hours?" "She was already out for enrichment time. I came to bring her fresh water. Commander entered the habitat during her exercise period." The boy's voice was respectful but firm. "I had proper authorization to be there. He did not." Checked her data pad. "He is right. Christopher has level 2 keeper clearance for the Earth Mammals section. He has been helping care for Luna since we arrived on the ship 6 months ago." She looked at. "Commander, I apologize that this situation occurred. However, all personnel are required to review safety protocols before entering any habitat. Did you complete the Earth section training module?" Felt shame burn through him. "No, I thought it unnecessary. I have handled dangerous creatures before." "Earth animals are different." Daniel's voice was not unkind, just factual. "They do not follow the same behavioral patterns as species from most council worlds. They evolved in an environment where being small meant you had to be fierce or you died. Luna is not vicious. She is not evil. She simply does not understand surrender. Her species has survived millions of years by never giving up, never backing down, and never forgetting a threat." Finished her initial treatment. "Commander, you need to come to the medical bay for full care. Some of these wounds require tissue regeneration. You will be there for at least 6 hours." As they helped him to his feet, looked back at Christopher and Luna. The boy was placing the honey badger back in her habitat, speaking to her softly. Luna rubbed against his hand one more time before waddling back to her burrow, completely at ease. She had fought and won. Now she was ready for a nap. Understood something in that moment. The boy had not wanted this to happen. He had tea. The medical bay was quiet except for the hum of regeneration equipment. Lay on a bed designed to accommodate multiple species body types. His wounds were being treated with cellular repair technology, but the process took time. The physical pain was manageable now thanks to medication. The damage to his pride was another matter entirely. Dr. A worked at a nearby console, monitoring his vital signs. She had been mostly silent since they arrived, which appreciated. He was not ready for conversation, but eventually she spoke. "You are fortunate the honey badger was well fed and in a calm environment. If she had been hungry or stressed, the attack would have been significantly worse." Worse, that was not her full capacity. Not even close. I pulled up a holographic display showing Earth's ecosystem data. Honey badgers in the wild regularly attack beehives for food. They endure thousands of bee stings without apparent discomfort. They hunt venomous snakes, including cobras and mambas, species that could kill most council members with a single bite. The honey badgers eat them. Watch the footage playing on the screen. A honey badger fought a cobra 3 times its length. The snake struck multiple times, injecting venom. The honey badger barely seemed to notice. It seized the snake behind the head and killed it with casual efficiency. Then it ate the snake over the course of an hour, taking breaks to rest but never abandoning its meal. How is that possible? The venom should kill something that small. Earth animals developed resistances to toxins that would be fatal to us. Honey badgers have a specific protein in their blood that neutralizes many snake venoms. They also have an extremely high pain tolerance. Scientists believe their nervous system processes pain differently. They feel it, but it does not stop them. I changed the display to show comparative anatomy. Look at their skin. It is thick and loose. When you tried to grab Luna, she could twist inside her own skin. Your claws could not penetrate deeply enough to reach vital organs. It is a defense mechanism against predator bites. What predators? What hunts them? Very few things successfully hunt adult honey badgers. Young ones are sometimes taken by eagles or large cats. But even then, the bobbies fight back so viciously that many predators learn to avoid them. The energy cost of killing a honey badger is often higher than the nutritional value of eating one, so most predators leave them alone. Absorbed this information slowly. On his world, predators were large and armored, prey animals were fast or camouflaged. There was a clear hierarchy. Earth seemed to ignore these rules completely. He thought about Christopher's words, coexistence, not dominance. The door opened and Brandon entered, carrying a data pad. "Commander, I have completed the incident report. I need you to review and approve it for official records." Took the pad and read through the document. Brandon had been thorough but fair. The report stated facts without judgment, had entered a restricted habitat without completing required training. He had been warned by authorized personnel about the danger. He had proceeded anyway. The animal had acted in defense of its keeper. No blame was assigned to the honey badger or to Christopher Daniels. "This is acceptable. I approve the report," signed the document digitally. "Officer, may I ask you something?" "Of course, sir." "How many similar incidents have occurred with Earth animals?" Brandon shifted his weight. "Since the Earth exhibit opened 8 months ago, we have had 47 unauthorized interactions with animals. 32 resulted in injuries to the person attempting the interaction. Most were minor, scratches and small bites. Yours is the 4th serious injury requiring extended medical treatment." "What were the other 3? "An ambassador tried to pet a raccoon. It destroyed 3 of his manipulator tendrils before we could separate them. A scientist attempted to study a wolverine up close without proper protective equipment. The wolverine climbed him like a tree and left him with injuries similar to yours. And a trader tried to capture a wild turkey he saw in the North American forest section, thinking it was slow and harmless. The turkey broke his arm in 2 places and fractured his skull. Could not hide his shock. A bird did that. Turkeys are much more aggressive than they appear. Males defend their territory violently during breeding season. The trader grabbed one during that exact time. The bird attacked with its talons and beak until security could tranquilize it." Brandon pulled up images of the animals he mentioned. "Earth animals are universally more aggressive and resilient than equivalent species from other worlds. We have tried to warn visitors, but many species believe they know better." They assume size or intelligence grants them safety. Earth animals do not recognize those advantages. Added, I have studied Earth biology extensively since humans joined the Council. Their planet's classification as a Class 12 is not exaggerated. Earth has higher gravity than 80% of inhabited worlds. The atmospheric oxygen content is nearly toxic to some species. Temperature variations between climate zones are extreme, and the competition between species for resources has been intense for hundreds of millions of years. Every organism had to evolve maximum efficiency just to survive. Humans included, asked. Humans most of all. They are persistence hunters. Their ancestors could run prey animals to exhaustion across distances that would kill most galactic species. They can survive in environments from frozen tundra to scorching deserts. They heal from injuries that would permanently disable other species. And most importantly, they never give up. That trait is not unique to humans. It is shared by almost every successful species from Earth. The door opened again. This time Christopher entered alone. He carried a small package wrapped in simple cloth. He approached bed cautiously. Hello, Commander. My parents said I should come apologize properly. So I am here to say I am sorry you got hurt. I really wish it had not happened. You have nothing to apologize for, young one. I was foolish. You gave me warning and I ignored it. Studied the boy more carefully now. Christopher was small even for a human child. His species was not physically imposing by galactic standards, yet he had stood between a trained warrior and a dangerous animal without fear. You were very brave. Standing between me and Luna took courage. Christopher shook his head. It was not bravery. I just knew what would happen if I did not try to stop you. Luna is my responsibility. I help care for her. Part of that job is keeping people safe from her and keeping her safe from people. When you tried to kick her, you became a threat to something she protects. She protects me because I feed her and give her water and clean her habitat. To her, I am family. She would fight anything that tried to hurt her family. Even something many times her size. Especially something many times her size. That is what honey badgers do. They do not measure whether they can win. They only know they will not lose without fighting. Christopher held out the wrapped package. I brought you something. It is not much, but my mom said gifts help with apologies. Unwrapped the cloth carefully. Inside was a small data chip. What is this? It is a collection of videos and information about Earth animals. I thought maybe if you understood them better, you would not think of them as weak or disrespectful. They are just different. They evolved in a place where being polite could get you killed, so they learned to be tough instead. Accepted the gift with genuine gratitude. Thank you, Christopher. I will study this material thoroughly. I have much to learn about your world. The boy smiled, looking relieved. Luna is not angry at you, by the way. I checked on her after we left the habitat. She was eating and playing like normal. She already forgot about the fight. Honey badgers do not hold grudges. They defend what needs defending and then move on. I wish I could forget as easily. I will remember this lesson for the rest of my life. Good, that means you learned something important. Christopher turned to leave but paused at the door. Commander, Earth animals are not cruel. They are not evil. They just do not understand giving up. If more people in the galaxy understood that, there would be fewer incidents like today. Humans learn to live with creatures like Luna by respecting what they are, not trying to change them or dominate them. Maybe that is something the whole galaxy could learn. After the boy left, inserted the data chip into the medical bay's viewing system. The first video showed a wolverine fighting off 3 wolves. The second showed a cassowary killing a mock enemy with its talons in seconds. The third showed a hippopotamus crushing a crocodile in its jaws. Every animal was from Earth. Every animal was terrifyingly effective. 3 days passed before was cleared to leave medical care. His wounds had healed cleanly thanks to regeneration technology, but Dr. A insisted he rest fully before returning to duty. He spent those days studying the material Christopher had given him. The more he learned about Earth, the more his understanding of the galaxy shifted. On the 4th day, he received an unexpected visitor. Commander has entered the medical bay with the bearing of someone who had seen too many battles and lived too many years to be easily surprised. He was superior officer and had served in the military for 40 years. His scales were darker than marked with scars from old combat. Commander, I heard you had an interesting encounter with Earth wildlife. Is pulled up a chair and sat with the casual ease of someone who did not need to prove his authority. The incident report was very thorough, also very embarrassing for our species. Sir, I take full responsibility for my actions. I displayed poor judgment and cultural ignorance. If you wish to discipline me, I understand. Discipline you? No, I came to tell you that you learned a valuable lesson in the least expensive way possible. Is pulled up a holographic display from his own data pad. 15 years ago, before humans joined the Council, the Empire sent a military assessment team to Earth. We wanted to evaluate them as potential allies or threats. The team consisted of our best warriors, trained scouts, and tactical analysts. I was not aware of this mission. It was classified. The results were even more classified because they were humiliating. It showed combat footage. Our team was ambushed by a group of human soldiers in a training exercise. Not real combat, just a scheduled war game that was supposed to evaluate both species' capabilities. We sent 20 elite warriors. The humans sent 12 soldiers. We lost. Watch the footage in silence. The human soldiers moved differently than he expected. They did not rely on strength or armor. They used terrain, teamwork, and relentless persistence. When warriors tried to engage in direct combat, the humans simply refused. They struck from unexpected angles, then before counterattacks could land. They kept fighting for 16 hours straight without stopping. The larger and stronger eventually collapsed from exhaustion. The humans won by simply outlasting them. How is this possible? We are superior physically in every measurement. Exactly, we are superior in every measurement that we value, but humans measure superiority differently. They value endurance over strength, adaptability over armor, mental resilience over physical power. It is the same principle you encountered with the honey badger. Size does not determine the outcome. Will does. Is changed the display to show military analysis reports. After that exercise, I spent 3 years studying human history, their warfare, their survival strategies, their cultural values. Do you know what I learned? Humans have been fighting constantly for their entire existence, not just wars between nations, but daily struggles against their environment. They lived alongside predators that could kill them easily, diseases that wiped out entire populations, natural disasters that destroyed civilizations, and they never quit. They adapted, learned, and kept going. The honey badger principle. Exactly, every successful species on Earth learned that same lesson. Fight or die, never surrender, protect what matters regardless of the cost. Is closed the display. The Council did not fully understand what they were accepting when they offered humans membership. Most species saw a young civilization with decent technology and assumed they would be manageable junior partners. They did not see what I saw. What did you see? A species that could teach the entire galaxy how to survive. Is stood and looked out the window at the stars beyond. The Council has been at peace for 200 years. We have become soft. We negotiate instead of fight. We compromise instead of stand firm. These are good things for civilization, but they make us vulnerable. If a real threat emerges, something that cannot be negotiated with, most Council species will not know how to respond. But humans will. And so will the creatures they bring with them. Thought about Luna, about her casual confidence when approaching something many times her size. You think the galaxy needs Earth's toughness. I know it does, but first we need to understand it. That is why your incident is actually valuable. It will be discussed, analyzed, and learned from. Other species will hear about a small Earth predator defeating an officer. They will ask questions, study Earth animals, and hopefully learn respect before they make the same mistake you did. After his left, received more visitors. Security Chief Pierce came to discuss safety protocols. Engineer Santos stopped by to share his own story about encountering a wild dog pack in Africa during a visit to Earth. Each person added to his growing understanding of the planet and its inhabitants. Explained how Earth's security teams operated differently than galactic standard. We do not just react to threats, we anticipate them. Human criminals are incredibly creative because they had to be. Earth police forces learned to think like their targets, to predict behavior, to never assume anything was impossible. That mindset comes from living on a world where nature itself was the first threat. Described his experience with Cape hunting dogs during a wildlife observation trip. I thought I was safe because I was with professional guides, but a pack of wild dogs approached our vehicle. The guide told us to stay absolutely still and quiet. I asked why, since we were protected. He said the vehicle meant nothing to wild dogs who had learned to hunt animals much larger than humans. They were testing us, seeing if we would react like prey. We stayed still. They left. If we had run, they would have chased. That is the Earth way. Show weakness and you become prey. Show respect and you can coexist. On the 5th day, was cleared for light duty. His first action was to request permission to visit the Earth exhibit. Brandon escorted him personally, ensuring all protocols were followed. They stood outside Luna's habitat, watching her through the viewing window. Luna was playing with an enrichment toy, a tough rubber ball that she rolled around and chewed on. She looked completely harmless in this moment, almost playful. It was hard to believe this was the same creature that had defeated him so thoroughly. She really does not remember attacking me, does she? Brandon shook his head. Honey badgers have good memories for locations and food sources, but they do not hold grudges. You were a threat. She eliminated the threat. Now you are not threatening her or Christopher, so you are irrelevant to her concerns. It is nothing personal. I almost wish it was personal. At least that would mean she considered me important enough to remember. Christopher approached from the keeper area carrying food containers. He saw and smiled. "Hello, Commander. Are you feeling better?" "Much better, thank you. I came to see Luna again from the safe side of the glass this time." The boy laughed. "She is most active in the morning and evening. Right now she is just relaxing. Do you want to watch her eat? It is pretty interesting." Agreed, and Christopher entered the habitat through proper channels. He called Luna and she immediately abandoned her toy to waddle over. The boy placed several food items around the habitat, raw meat, eggs, and some fruit. Luna went from item to item, eating with efficient bites. She could crack the eggs with her jaws, shell and all. The raw meat disappeared in minutes. Even the fruit was consumed completely. "She eats approximately 15% of her body weight daily," Christopher explained through the communication system. "In the wild, honey badgers travel up to 20 miles in a single night searching for food. They are incredibly active and need lots of calories. Luna gets a controlled diet here, but we make sure she has enrichment activities that let her express natural behaviors. Digging, climbing, problem-solving. It keeps her healthy and happy." Watch the interaction between boy and animal. There was genuine affection there, but also respect. Christopher never treated Luna like a pet. He treated her like a partner, an equal in their relationship. The boy maintained boundaries, gave her space, and never forced interaction. Luna chose to be near him because she wanted to, not because she was controlled. "Christopher, may I ask you something?" "Sure, Commander." 6 months passed after the incident. The story of Commander and the honey badger spread throughout the Meridian Dawn and eventually across the entire Galactic Council. It became a cautionary tale, shared in training sessions and safety briefings. More importantly, it became a teaching moment about Earth and its inhabitants. The Earth exhibit saw changes. Attendance increased dramatically as species from across the galaxy came to see these remarkable creatures. But now visitors came with respect instead of casual curiosity. They attended orientation sessions. They watched educational videos. They learned about evolution before they ever approached a viewing window. Had changed, too. He requested and received a transfer to the Diplomatic Corps, specifically the division handling human integration into Council activities. Commander is approved the transfer personally, noting that experience gave him unique insights that would be valuable in the coming years. Today was significant. The Galactic Council was holding a special session aboard the Meridian Dawn. Earth had petitioned for full military partnership status within the Council Defense Forces. The decision would determine how humans were viewed and utilized in galactic security matters. Had been asked to provide testimony based on his experiences working with humans over the past months. The council chamber was impressive, a vast circular room with seating for representatives from 47 member species. Holographic displays showed speakers from across the galaxy who attended virtually. The chamber's design ensured every voice could be heard equally, reflecting council values of cooperation and shared governance. Stood at the speaker's platform, his formal uniform crisp and clean. His testimony would be recorded and distributed to every council world. He had prepared carefully for this moment. "Honored council members, I am commander of the Empire. 6 months ago, I made a critical error in judgment. I underestimated an Earth creature based on its size and appearance. The result was painful, humiliating, and educational. I am here today to share what I learned in hopes that the Council will understand what humanity offers our alliance." He brought up a holographic display showing Luna. "This is a honey badger named Luna. She weighs 30 pounds. She stands 1 foot tall at the shoulder. By every conventional measure, she is insignificant compared to predators from most Council worlds. Yet this creature defeated me in combat with ease. Not because she was stronger, but because she possessed something I did not understand at the time. absolute refusal to quit. The chamber was silent as continued. I have spent the past 6 months studying Earth's ecosystem, history, and cultures. I have learned that the honey badger is not an exception. It is the rule. Every successful species on Earth developed the same core trait, persistence. When faced with a threat, Earth animals do not calculate their chances of victory. They simply fight until the threat is gone or they are dead. There is no surrender, no retreat, no acceptance of defeat. A representative raised a tentacle to speak. Commander, this sounds like simple aggression. Many species display territorial behavior. What makes Earth animals unique? The scale and consistency. Let me give you examples. Change the display to show various Earth creatures. African elephants mourn their dead and will attack anyone who threatens their family groups, even when vastly outnumbered. Ants build colonies with millions of members and will fight enemies millions of times their individual size. Wolves hunt in coordinated packs and can run for hours without stopping, exhausting prey that are faster and stronger. Solve complex puzzles and escape enclosures that should be impossible to open. Every example demonstrates the same principle. Earth life does not accept limits. And humans, asked a scientist, do they share these traits? Humans perfected these traits. They are persistence hunters who ran prey to exhaustion across their plains. They are social creatures who built civilizations from nothing. They are problem solvers who reached their moon using computer technology less powerful than a modern data pad. And most importantly, they learned from the animals around them. They studied honey badgers and saw fearlessness. They watched wolves and learned teamwork. They observed and understood tool use. Earth did not just produce one remarkable species. It produced an entire ecosystem of teachers, and humans learned every lesson. Pulled up military analysis data. The Council has enjoyed peace for 2 centuries. This is admirable and worth preserving, but peace has made us soft in ways we do not recognize. Our military forces train for conflicts that follow established rules. We negotiate with species who understand compromise. But what happens when we face a threat that does not follow our rules? That does not compromise. That will never quit no matter how many times we defeat them. The chamber erupted in discussion. Representatives argued and debated, waited patiently for order to be restored before continuing. Humans have faced such threats their entire existence. Their planet itself was the first enemy, with weather that could kill, predators that hunted them, diseases that devastated populations. They learned to fight threats that could not be reasoned with. That experience shaped their entire civilization. When humans join a military partnership, they bring more than ships and weapons. They bring a mindset the rest of us have forgotten. The willingness to fight when retreat seems logical. The ability to endure when endurance seems impossible. The refusal to quit when quitting would be easier. An elderly counselor spoke, her voice carrying the weight of experience. Commander, are you suggesting we need humans because they are more willing to die for a cause? No, counselor, I am suggesting we need humans because they are more willing to live for a cause. They do not seek death. They seek victory through survival. There is a human saying I have learned. What does not kill me makes me stronger. This is not just philosophy. It is how they approach every challenge. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every defeat becomes motivation. They do not break, they adapt. The discussion continued for hours. Answered questions, provided data, and shared stories from his months working with humans. He described watching human engineers solve supposedly impossible technical problems through creativity and determination. He explained how human diplomats negotiated deals that satisfied multiple species by finding solutions others had not considered. He detailed military exercises where human forces performed far beyond expectations through unconventional tactics. Finally, the council called for a recess to deliberate, left the chamber and found Christopher and his parents waiting in the observation area. Luna was there too, in a secure carrier designed for her comfort and safety. She was an unofficial guest, invited because her story had become central to the discussion. You did well, Daniel said. Your testimony was powerful and fair. I spoke only truth. Whether the council accepts it remains to be seen. Christopher knelt beside Luna's carrier. She pressed her face against the mesh, sniffing his fingers. The boy smiled and offered her a treat through a secure feeding port. Luna does not care about council votes. She just wants her snacks and a good burrow to sleep in. Sometimes I think animals have the right idea. Just worry about what matters to you and ignore everything else. If only politics were so simple, Daniel said, but he smiled as he watched his son with the honey badger. Though perhaps we could all learn from that philosophy, focus on what matters, ignore what does not. The council session resumed 2 hours later. The vote was not unanimous, but the majority was clear. Earth was granted full military partnership status with a 5-year evaluation period. The decision came with conditions and oversight, but it was approved. Humans would serve alongside other species in defense forces. They would train council troops in persistence tactics. They would share their knowledge of survival. After the vote, a formal ceremony was held. Representatives from Earth's government attended virtually, appearing as holograms in the chamber. There were speeches, symbolic exchanges, and official documents. But the moment everyone remembered came at the end. Christopher was invited to the chamber floor as a representative of the new generation. He carried Luna in his arms, having received special permission for her presence. The boy stood before the entire council, small and seemingly insignificant among the gathered power of 47 civilizations. An ancient elder, one of the council's founding members, addressed him directly. "Young human, you and your companion have become symbols of your world. The story of how a child protected a small, fierce creature has spread across the galaxy. What message would you share with the council?" Christopher looked down at Luna, then back at the assembled representatives. His voice was clear and confident. "Luna taught me that being small does not mean being weak. Being gentle does not mean being helpless. Earth taught all our animals that survival means never giving up, even when everything tells you to quit. Humans learned those lessons from creatures like Luna. We learned to respect strength in all its forms, not just the obvious kind. I think that is what Earth can share with the galaxy. Not just how to fight, but why to keep fighting even when you are tired, scared, and hurt. Because some things are worth protecting, no matter the cost." The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then, species by species, the representatives began a gesture of respect. Each had their own way of showing approval. Some stood, some bowed, some made sounds of agreement. The gesture spread until every member of the council had acknowledged the boy's words. Luna, unconcerned with the ceremony, yawned and settled more comfortably in Christopher's arms. She had no idea she was part of history. She just knew her human was safe, she was fed, and everything was fine in her world. That was enough. Watched from the diplomatic section and felt something he had not expected. Hope, not just for humanity's future in the council, but for the galaxy's future because of humanity. They would face threats eventually. The peaceful era would end someday. When that happened, the galaxy would need the lessons Earth could teach: persistence, courage, the refusal to accept defeat. He thought about that day in Luna's habitat when he raised his foot to kick what he thought was an insignificant creature. Christopher had warned him with one word: regret. The boy was right. Did regret his actions that day, but he was grateful for the lesson that came from them. Sometimes the smallest teachers deliver the most important lessons. Sometimes wisdom comes not from those who never fall, but from those who fall and rise again and again, refusing to stay down. Earth understood this. Their animals lived it. Their children learned it. And now, hopefully, the galaxy would understand it too. Luna opened one eye, looked around the grand chamber with its advanced technology and powerful beings, and then closed her eye again. She was not impressed. She had seen bigger threats in her habitat. Face-down creatures that tried to harm her human. Won every fight that mattered. She was a honey badger, that was enough. Why did you choose to work with Luna specifically? There are many Earth animals in the collection. Some are larger, some are more traditionally impressive. Why a honey badger? The boy thought for a moment while Luna finished eating. Because she is honest. She does not pretend to be something she is not. She is small and she knows it. But she decided long ago that being small does not mean being weak. Every day she wakes up and faces the world with complete confidence, not because she thinks she is the biggest or the strongest, just because she knows she will never quit. I think that is the most important thing anyone can learn. Size does not matter. Strength does not matter. What matters is whether you quit or keep going when things get hard. Luna finished her meal and returned to Christopher. She rubbed against his leg once, then walked back to her burrow for a nap. Her belly was full, her territory was secure, and her human family member was safe. That was all she needed. Understood then that Earth's gift to the galaxy was not technology or resources or military power. It was a lesson that every species needed to learn. Never quit, never surrender, protect what matters, and respect those who do the same, regardless of their size. He understood now why humans had survived their planet. They had not conquered it. They had learned from the animals around them. They had adopted the same persistence, the same refusal to surrender, the same fierce protection of what they valued. The honey badger was not just an animal to them. It was a teacher, showing them how to survive in a universe that did not care about their small size or limited natural weapons. Wondered what else Earth could teach the galaxy, if only they were willing to learn. To prevent it, but once made his choice, Christopher had stepped back and let nature take its course. That was the Earth way: respect the warning or learn from the experience. There was no middle ground. He had learned. The question now was whether the lesson was worth the price. Made his decision. He had not risen to his rank by backing down from challenges. These humans needed to learn that did not take orders from children or lower-ranked security personnel. He would simply push the boy aside gently, then continue his inspection. Perhaps he would even pick up the honey badger, show these people that it was harmless to a properly strong species. He reached down toward Christopher's shoulder. His hand was still 6 inches away when everything changed. Luna moved like a released spring, covering the distance between herself and in less than a second. Her jaws opened wide, revealing teeth that seemed much too large for her size. And then she bit down on his leg with a force that made scream in shock and pain. The boy had been right, was already regretting everything.